distance,
Right.
which could go beyond decency. And the girls also, like recently in WCC, we had a conversation. We need to tell what emojis mean.
Yeah.
I think emojis are a huge issue because you don't understand what a particular emoji means, and you give out the wrong message by putting emojis. When you have a professional conversation, do not use emojis.
Yes. Do not
That
use
is
them
not,
ever.
but
I
never,
don't
you know,
think so.
yeah. I mean, professionally, you cannot be using
Yeah.
emojis. Uh, and what you need to say, you have to say. But see, it's about your work. If you say something, you may not get work.
Yeah.
So you're constantly, you know, kids are constantly balancing themselves. It is a very tough period they're going through.
Yeah.
You know, so I can only individually, when WCC gets certain individual instances, we are able to try and, you know, balance it out and tell them what can be done and what cannot be done. But I realize it's a very tough period we are living, and the kids are going through a lot more than I have ever been through.
Are there some male colleagues from the Malayalam film industry that you particularly remember as being very, very borderline sexist or sexist, and and we've seen so much of misogyny there? I just wonder, when you were, in the industry in your early years, I don't think anyone dared to mess around with you. But did you see things happening around you with women, perhaps, which disturbed you? But at that point, I think none of us had the tools or the language to articulate our anger, when things like this were happening. Do you sometimes look back and think, I wish I had spoken up then, or I wish I had said this then?
Kaveri, in the 80s, 90s, we did not have mobile phones.
Yeah.
And I attribute a lot of issues with the mobile phones and the messaging. Because
Why is that?
the reason is, you know, when you have to see a person and tell them directly in their eye that, I want to, maybe I just want to be with you,
Yeah.
you know, it's not very easy. You have to look into somebody's eyes and say it. But now it is SMS.
Right.
You just say that, you know, come and meet me, have a
Yeah.
coffee with me, or, you know.
Or swipe left,
It is
right,
so,
whatever you do.
it is so easy,
Yeah.
you know. So there is a difference in communication. So those days it was much tougher. Yes, I mean, wherever there are men and women, there is a bit of flirting, and that
Yeah.
is part of hormones, and that's fine, you know. But when you go beyond a certain, what do you say, respectable norm, then there has to be consent. Those days we didn't have a term called consent,
Yeah.
you know.
We didn't even know what it
We didn't even know about it. So it would be diplomatically smile and say no, or whatever we wanted at that time. And, we would maybe share it with somebody whom we knew very close, or in the film industry, it is very difficult to share a lot of things because then it gets around and it becomes very difficult. You don't know whom to trust and whom not to trust. But the good thing personally is my mother was very open with me, and she talked to me about good touch and bad touch even then.
Okay.
And she always said that, you know,
Because you were very young.
I was very young. I was very young. I was 17 when I entered,
17,
yes.
yeah.
And but you know, we were brought up differently. I was brought up where I could speak up. But in the same era, there were girls and boys who didn't know how to speak up.
Yeah.
You know, so it is about your bringing up in the end, the kind of circumstances that you were in, and the way the parents told you, gave you the strength. So you stand up on your feet or stand up against for yourself, you know, against others for yourself. So even then, there were incidents where sometimes I feel, oof, I should have just, you know, given him a piece of my mind. Instead, I just smiled
Or
and
a
said,
slap.
oh, sorry, I have something else to do, kind of a thing,
Okay.
you know. So you just say it, you know, in a very diplomatic, polite, nice way. I was thinking, why was I so nice? You know,
Why were you so polite?
Yeah, so polite. And yes, I mean.
What would you have done now? What would the Revathy of today have done then?
I don't know, but I would have maybe just told them, sorry, I'm not interested in you, on point blank.